I'm hoping that this might help me with my next job. It's the Joint Master Mark II sewing jig, which was awarded the gold medal at the 1972 International Inventors Fair at Brussels. So, what's in the box? It's a plain cardboard box. It's something that I've used about once in my life and decided it wasn't worth it, so I never threw it away. There you are. Copydex product, and that's what you get. A cast metal base with two guides to guide a tenon saw and some dowels to control the angle and a wedge for something. Anyway, so what I need to do is saw the front of this body, locomotive body, and to keep it square while I'm sawing the front off. And I haven't got a sewing box that would take it. And so rather than marking it, I'm hoping that using the jig might do it. Let's see. Well, I wouldn't recommend you go out and buy one just to do that. You're better just marking carefully. It's a parallel line to a straight edge, so it's not that difficult to mark. But I'm about to finish cutting through now with the tenon saw to take the front off this thing. Okay, it's taking shape. This must be about the easiest conversion you can do. Just a simple cut and shut of the existing body and changing its configuration so it looks slightly different. My next task, I think, is to, as there are some steps there, do something to make it look as though there's a door towards the rear portion of the cab. But before that, I'm now going to look at some more pictures of the real things to try and decide about what to do about this exhaust stack, handrails and things like this. I don't want to make anything too complicated for myself. I want it to be a fairly, as it's only a very simple modification. I don't want to overcomplicate it. Let's see what I come up with. Starting to put everything back together again. The motor block is now re-screwed in. As I'm not going to be putting the central cab back, I don't need this part, and therefore 2 of the 4 screws aren't needed because they just screw into the bottom of that. I have checked online and found out that to reduce the speed you put diode bridges in series with the power feed to the motor, and that's there are 3 ribbon cables, one with 2 wires, one with 3 wires, and one with either 5 or 6 wires. Anyway, the motor feed is the one with 2 wires through a connector here down to the twin motors and gearboxes underneath. The only other feed coming up from that bottom block is the power feed, which is these 2 coming from the terminals in here, which are the battery. If I can't find a successful way of keeping that battery in there, then I can put a rechargeable battery in the middle and connect it directly then to these 2 wires, which are the main VCC and ground inputs to there. I could just put rechargeable cells into that and then fit a charging socket and switch so that it has a permanent rechargeable battery, or just a shrink wrapped rechargeable battery pack in the middle. And it's the other 2 wires connected onto this front board. So 2 wires from the, let's call it the back board, control the motor speed controller. The twin wire feed onto a plug to the front board are the battery terminals. I'm racing through it so it doesn't take too long. So I've sawn off the buffers, cleaned up the sides, leaving it a matte colour, self-coloured, apart from a bit of red paint on the buffers, and I'll just show you quickly the body when it goes on. Okay, I've rushed it back together without giving everything time to harden and dry off, so I've dislodged a couple of the lamps. I've not yet cleaned the Vaseline protected or masked lenses inside there. There's a bit of milliput and glue on that side. I've used the traditional circular bit and drawing pin to represent a filler cap on there. We've got a little bit to fill up there and decide what we do with that. I've still got the yellow part in case anybody thought, oh, we should have a smokestack. We can paint that black and put it back on. Not a problem. Need to do a representation of a door here. Might do that with micro strip paper strip. Maybe milliput out the old door handle. Put some finer handrails. There's the rear, which actually needs attaching better. That's just pushed in place. I've got flecks of green plastic all over it, and that's where I've already damaged it putting it back together. That moved, and also I dislodged this, so whether I have to prise that off and reattach it later, but I'm going to let it harden first and see what I can do about it once it's hardened. Well, as I say, I bought this brand new. I haven't even tried to run it. Oh, there's a bad line here. At that point, we'll have to think about what we do about disguising those. Right, well, I've yet to put the diode speed reducers in. Sorry about the jackhammer in the background. But this is just to check that it still works. I also need to think of a better way of clamping in the battery. A few bits to touch up. The lamps, as I said, I damaged those while assembling it. It needs some buffers on it. It's probably quite a bright shade of green. Possibly have done with being a darker shade of green. But that then is it. One last thing, if you can hear me over the jackhammer, is I wasn't able to consider putting an axle through the middle because there are steel plates to add weight to the chassis inside there, so you can't go right through. You could add dummy wheels just on the outside to make it an 060. So there it goes.